War Pugs. So this is this is more of the unsubscribed podcast, guys. Angry cops, fat electrician, things like that. But this is called kind of consensual. Now, this is how the U.S. Navy defeated Greenpeace with Jellyfish. I haven't heard about this. I didn't know that this happened. I don't know when this happened, but we're about to find out. Guys, I have been keeping track of Richard High's thing with the Buffalo School District, public schools. And guys, check it out if you haven't already, but Richard High is putting in the good work. Now, aside from all that, I'm going to mention that pretty much anytime I see anything from Fat Electrician, Angry Cops, anybody, just to continue to push that message along. Check out the Unsubscribed podcast. It's Your Kids Are in Danger. Check that out. I do not recommend it if you're not in the mood to be pissed off, because it will piss you off. But we're going to jump into this. This looks to be a little bit more lighthearted. All links are going to be in the description down below. War Pugs, check it out. Subscribe to me. Subscribe to Kinda Consensual. Let's get into it.
So this is 1993, the USS Flying Fish, SSN 673, I believe that's the ship. The Norfolk Naval Area, so this happened in Norfolk, Virginia, is having issues with red tide, and the jellyfish are all over the place surrounding the boat. The captain is away from the boat on a briefing. XO's in charge, along with the duty chief and the duty officer. Half of the boat is off the boat collecting parts, grabbing showers, and after watch, since the water system, trim and drain is tagged out, meaning the water system, I guess, is not online while they're in port. They hit the boat during...
What tagged out means is tagged out for maintenance. If something is locked out and tagged out, if you don't know, that means that you cannot turn it on. Like, if you turn it on, you're pretty much going to find yourself out of the Navy fast.
Preventative maintenance for the trim and drain system. This is how we usually fight fires, so they were working on the pump system. We were in our home port, so all three entrances were open: bow, weapons, shipping hatch, and engineering.
Okay.
At the time, all we had was two P250 water hoses, 250 psi, at the bale. I don't know what the bale is on a sub. So 5 Zodiacs come in and came within 50 feet of the boat. I guess those are little, like, fucking inflatable ones. This is automatically a rappel borders, in quotes, incident. Topside calls over the 1MC, textbook formation, everyone on watch, arms up as secondary watch standers.
You couldn't have gotten away with this post-2000. You couldn't have gotten away with this post-2000 if you weren't supposed to be there and you showed up in a small boat next to a Navy ship, like you started coming in, you were going to have weapons trained on you. I actually saw it happen. I'll tell a story later.
You now have a total of 45 people armed with shotguns, 45s, and M14s instead of the M16s they used on the older submarines, I guess. Everyone musters topside. It wasn't until everyone showed up and armed to kill whoever was dumb enough to interrupt breakfast that it became clear who was hitting the boat. I don't know if you guys know this. Even in American ports, you can't just approach a naval vessel. They will fuck you up. The XO makes it topside just in time to see the Greenpeace banner pop up on the last Zodiac. So when I read the article, apparently Greenpeace was having a problem with the United States Navy using nuclear-powered vessels, and they were protesting pretty regularly.
Yeah, we should be using diesel.
Yeah.
Fucking retards.
Yeah, don't use that clean burning shit. Oh my God.
Let's go.
So, I hear the XO yelling from topside, Greenpeace, arms into the hatches. So I guess the three of us were being tossed firearms down the ladder, so they put all the guns down. The hatches were left manned with shotguns and sailors, and 2 sailors with M14s were in the sail, ordered to pick off anyone who put a foot on a ladder rung down. Unarmed combat started topside as 2 boats peeled off, followed by the Puddle Pirates, Coast Guard, and the Shore Patrol. 3 boats veered directly for our boat, one hitting the bow, the other hitting engineering area that dropped off 3 or 4 by the weapons shipping hatch and backed away about 6 or 7 feet. Hippies started climbing onto the turtleback, carrying
You would be
signs. So here goes. In one corner, you have a bunch, 12 or 13, total 5 per boat, with one staying in the Zodiac, of hippies that can't fight and weigh well below the belt weight for the fight. The referees have decided to allow the weight difference, and the other 20 or 30 bubbleheads that are notorious for not fighting fair. So let's start at the bow. The first idiot to grab the drunk line. It's a line around the ship when in port. I've never heard of that before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I guess if you fall in, you can grab it. And proceeds to pull himself over the drunk line. He is met by one MM2, which is a rate, I guess.
Machinist mate.
Who
Machinist mate, prepare to have your jaw dislocated. These guys don't fuck around.
steps on his hand as he puts his hand on the actual submarine while his other hand is still attached to the holding the drunk line. The resulting stomp breaks most of his hand.
Yeah.
He does not release the stanchion, and so the sailor kicks him square between the eyes. He
There
falls
you go.
back into the water, surrounded by, you guessed it, the jellyfish.
Oh.
Oh, no.
It's so good. It just gets
Oh, God, it's the consequences of my actions.
better. That left three still climbing over the drunk lines, trying to square off with us. Second one manages to get her 2 feet onto the deck just in time to see one of the chiefs coming around the side of the sail holding a 50-pound sandbag. He was not near the bow, but the shipmates I know were at the bow, heard him say, "Here, catch," and chunks the bag at the girl. The bag and the girl go over into our jellyfish farm. Third, we don't even touch. He slips due to not having good traction on his shoes and falls into the water. 10 seconds
Bye-bye.
later, the guy joins him with another machinist mate, unceremoniously tossing him into the water.
Nice.
As the boat is pulling away, we have 4 guys shoving docking poles into the sides of the inflatable Zodiac. Apparently, like, they're poles used to like get lines off of stuff at a distance, and they have like
They're okay, they're not used so much on surface ships because with surface ships it's a little bit easier to get the lines over onto the pier. But docking poles are very long. They're exactly what they sound like. They're poles. But on the end, it's basically got some sort of bow hook to it with a point, which I don't know why the point is there. I think it's because we can't get out of, the old formation style warfare. I don't understand.
fucking hooks and pikes on the end of them.
Oh, are you saying a docking pole is like a long rod?
It's a pole arm.
Pole thing that helps a ship dock?
Fuck off, Rich. I'm still reading here, okay? I can't do 2 things at once. Which is, they punctured the boat in multiple areas. These Zodiacs are below military grade, so they're losing air fast. The boat
Bye-bye.
decides discretion is better, the better part of valor, and moves away, leaves his 4 friends in the water to cuddle the hundreds of jellyfish hanging around out by the boat. Oh, that would be fucking miserable. At the same time, we move to the aft sail, which has our weapons shipping hatch and our engineering hatch. And the engineering hatch guarding the opening is a bunch of nuke sailors holding any implement they could find, including screwdrivers, a spanner wrench for removing bolts on the reactor compartment. Apparently it weighs like 25 pounds and is
It's
huge. The Greenpeace guys on the aft turtleback, the aft of the engineering hatch, I guess, hit the hatch, look down and see the motley crew below decks catcalling them and asking them to come play. Deciding the engineering shipping hatch is off limits, they proceed to move forward, only to be met with a couple of sailors that decide they need a bath. 3 go into the water.
There we go.
So while all this is going on, 3 sailors are trying to get the P250, the water pump thing, started.
Nice.
It takes a bit because it's a piece of shit. 4 sailors are beating the holy hell out of the remaining Greenpeace members. Finally, the P250 starts up. Now, the pump of the P250 is in the water with the jellyfish, so it's sucking up jellyfish in the 250 PSI water hose. It's fucking wonderful.
So it's a jellyfish machine gun at this moment.
Nice. Nice.
That's more annoying. Steve.
I love this. It's still going. And shoots a stream of 250 PSI directly at 2 Greenpeace members less than 3 feet away. Yes, hippies can fly. Who knows?
Yay.
Both land in the water. The other 2 left decide going into the water is less painful than getting hit with a 200 PSI water of probably pulverized jellyfish. The last Greenpeace is standing on the 3rd boat, who, after dropping his cargo, got out a bullhorn and is screaming 6 feet off our side that it's a peaceful protest.
We didn't agree to that, though.
RM1 decides he's having too much fun with the hose and hits the guy square in the bullhorn with full blast. This is so good.
They were like, this was
This was a bad idea.
I'm like, But we're peaceful.
I'm like 80% sure I'm gonna track down this email and make this an actual fat electrician video.
This is
I
great.
love this.
This is a great story.
He goes into the water as well. Shore Patrol and the Coast Guard realize it was stupid and turn back around in time to see the last guy go into the water. They start fishing hippies out and medical treatment is provided. The tally, 12 were treated for jellyfish stings, one of which is concussed and has a broken hand. That was
Who
the guy that
cares?
was kicked. One broken nose, that was from the bullhorn. And a
Nice.
shiner that apparently made him look like he was a prize fighter. 3
Nice.
cracked ribs from the sandbag that was thrown at the one, and 2 black eyes wrestling the other sailor's topside. On our side, one chief had twisted his ankle after a textbook toss of the sandbag, 1 sprained wrist, and the sailor lost his glasses. We were given, and the aftermath. We were given an ass chewing by the XO and captain. The squadron commander gave us an attaboy, and Subblant, which I think is like their higher echelon command, gave us a Bravo Zulu, like, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the guy's like, I have contacts, and most of these sailors involved still after all these years we keep in touch. And he linked a newspaper article. Like,
Oh my God.
that whole thing, it's like, it's so good. Like, it's
Yes.
written well. Like, it's, God bless this man.
Yes.
How many jellyfish a minute you think that thing's like? 1,500 jellyfish a minute?
Yeah.
It's probably at 1,200, 9 to 1,200.
9 to 1,200
It's lovely.
jellyfish a minute.
That
Yeah,
is
I'm there.
wonderful.
I'm there.
This is so good. Like, I'm so glad this guy emailed, and now Nick can reach back out to him and be
Dude.
like, look, I
Do
need
it.
details.
The
Do
fucking-
it.
The SEO on Greenpeace versus the U.S. Navy would go insane.
Oh, man.
Greenpeace.
The U.S. Navy
you-
attacks activists with jellyfish cannon.
Yes.
Oh, that's the
my
one.
God.
Jellyfish
that
cannon.
thumbnail and that thumbnail and title.
Jellyfish
Nice.
cannon. The Navy's jellyfish cannon.
I'm doing
Can
it.
you imagine
Do
how
it.
much pee would have
Do
to
it.
take to make those stings hurt less?
Oh, dude. Everyone on that boat had an empty bladder after a little while.
There we go.
Those guys are getting peed on like it was an R. Kelly concert.
Yeah, I was reading through that and I was like, this has to happen. This is a great fucking story.
Guys, I'll tell you this. They are lucky that this happened. The Greenpeace guys are lucky this happened before the coal. Because there would have been no, we're going to let you board and then we're going to fight you off. We're going to repel boarders now. There would have been no put the arms away. It would have been an incident really, really fast. It would have been a deal. After the coal was bombed, there was no such thing as, there's a ship and we don't know who this is and they're pulling alongside. I remember when I was on my boat and I was on watch one day. No, I'm sorry, was not on watch. I was off watch, but I was on duty. And duty means when a Navy ship is in port, there's a certain amount of the crew that's going to stay on board that ship the whole day, the whole night. Usually it depends on the ship and depends on how, happy the captain is. But for most of my time in the Navy, when I was on a ship in home port, it was a 6-day thing. Every 6 days you're on duty and you're staying on board the boat. Well, I was outside at the time, and the watch, the leader of the watch, the duty officer, had been on board the coal when everything happened. And I'm turning in. I can't remember. I had been on watch recently. I wasn't armed at the time. I had already turned in my weapons. I'm not quite sure what I was doing. It was a little bit later in the day. So like, this happened a long time ago. So excuse me if I don't have everything written down. But I was probably smoking at the time. I was in the smoke break. I was in the smoke break on the ship, and I saw the duty officer standing out there, and I just kind of walked up because I looked over and I saw a small boat, and I was like looking at the small boat. I was like, okay, what the hell are you doing? Because I had just, I I would have known that we were expecting a small boat. Who the hell is this? And they're slowly getting closer, and the rover, which is the guy that, you know, he's armed with an M14 or M4 later on, he's the one that lets, you know, if he sees anything that he's not supposed to see, he sends up the alert. So he lets everyone know. The officer of the deck is over there. The duty officer's over there. I'm over there now. And he's yelling at this guy. He's yelling at this dude. Turn around. And there's this one dude up the front. He's like, hey, no, we're supposed to be here. We're supposed to be here. The guy says, no, you don't understand me. Turn around. No. You contact your blah, 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 blah. This guy looks at the rover next to him. He says, unshoulder your weapon. And at this point, I was sitting there like, well, shit. He tells the rover unshoulders his weapon. He says, set your weapon to condition 1, which pretty much means put a live round in the chamber. Guy puts a live round in the chamber. He says, point it right at that motherfucker's head. The attitude on board that boat changed in a heartbeat because they realized they weren't screwing around. And I'm telling you what, the look on this guy's face, from smug, I know what I'm supposed to be doing here, all this other kind of stuff, to holy crap, I might wind up with my brains painting the floor. The realization that could happen, instantaneous change of opinion, instantaneous change of tact. We're going from I'm here to I'm getting out of here in a quarter second flat. He did not mess around at all. And yeah, that was basically all. Yeah, the guy got out of the bay, made a call over. Commander comes up to the ship, confers with our watch officer, and then apparently, I wasn't there for this part, so I'm only going off secondhand for this part, but apparently he called the guy up and told him, yeah, if you would have kept on coming to this boat, you would have been shot. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. That dude was one of the coolest officers I ever had the pleasure of working alongside. He was really fair. He was like, he was just good all around. He was one of those, he was the kind of officer that you wanted to be in charge of your division, because he didn't play no games. He wasn't there for that. He was funny, but when it came down to watching out for his sailors and his boat, that dude was, there was no leniency with him. Like, if somebody threatened his sailors or his boat, it was on from that second. It was on from that moment, and he was one of the coolest people I ever had the pleasure of serving alongside. If you ever watch this, hats off to you, LP. But, guys, let me know what you think about Greenpeace finding out the consequence of their action. There'll be no way they would never be able to do this post the coal, because they would have been eradicated. There would have been no after action report or anything like that for Greenpeace on what they should have done better in this situation. There would have been no, this is a peaceful protest kind of situation. You were just dumb enough to try to board a Navy boat. They're not going to screw with you. Like, flat out. There were instructions on what we were to do if somebody ever attempted to board us. And water cannons were an absolute last resort. It's what you do when you run out of things to shoot, which I'm on aboard a Navy boat. I mean, there you go. Warpugs, I'm taking off. Kind of Consensual's links in the description down below. Subscribe to them, subscribe to me. Join us a member of Patreon for early access, and I'll catch you guys next time.